if people are telling you you belong, then like those are your people, you know?
I'm speaking today with Luke Gilford, the co-writer and director of National Anthem, and Eve Lindley, the star. And it is just a joy to speak with you both. Thank you so much. Um, Luke, where did the film come from?
It's a really personal project. I mean, I grew up in the mainstream rodeo circuit. My father was a professional rodeo cowboy. So I grew up around rodeos and love Western culture. Um, but started to feel really pushed away by it for who I am as I got older. And but then in 2016 discovered that there's this whole subculture of the queer rodeo. And first traveled all through the Southwest for about 4 years, documenting this world, becoming kind of part of the community. Um, and that just didn't feel like enough though. There's just so much more storytelling to be had with this, and I just saw so much more opportunity to uplift this world and share it. You know, a lot of people don't know that it exists. So and I identified so much with the stories of belonging and finding our people, and wanted to kind of put that into a coming of age story that Eve has so beautifully brought to life.
Absolutely, it feels personal. Like this is one of those films that you can feel that it matters that's being made. And Eve, what was it? What was it that attracted you to Sky? Why was it that you wanted to bring her to life in this particular world?
I mean, I think she I keep saying this, but like I was seduced by her. I sort of like I remember reading it and I was like, God, it would be really cool to like get to learn to ride horses and be like a part of this, this world. And then, but I was like, I don't know if I'm right for this. And then, but then I just couldn't let go. I was like, maybe, another audition and like, if they give me notes, I'll tape again. And, like I was really I don't know. I couldn't get her out of my head. I thought she was so free and so enigmatic and wonderful, and I was like, maybe I can do this.
And she was perfect for it. I must reiterate that she really is the perfect person to bring Sky to life, and I'm so grateful to have collaborated with Eve. She's a force. There's so much talent, and I think it's so beautiful now to share it with people in theaters and to see so many people falling in love with her. It's really special.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is true, Eve. You do a wonderful job in this film. And one of the things I love about this, and Luke, you talked about this sort of subculture going on with the queer community and the rodeo culture. One of the things that really attracted me to this film is the idea of safe spaces and finding safe spaces. And I think it's Eve, I think it's Sky that says this, says that you haven't met your people yet.
Mm.
I would love to hear from you both. How do you know when you found your people, and what does it mean to you?
Well, that's a complicated kind of question. I think that Dylan is actually a little bit older than the typical coming of age film. I believe that coming of age can happen at any point in life. That process of uncovering ourselves and finding ourselves, it's the process of being known really never stops. And is maybe never complete. So I think that and we continue to evolve, we continue to discover things about ourselves. So I don't know that it's like something that we ever arrive at. And in fact, the end of the movie is supposed to feel like a beginning in a way too. So I think he will go on to continue to discover new facets of himself, I hope. And so that's one thing. But then I think also just, queer and trans people out of necessity have, been creating these safe spaces forever. Queer and trans people have existed since the dawn of time. And, we will continue to exist even as they're trying to erase us. So, I think that we will always, be coming together as a survival instinct. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I think also like as far as meeting your people, like I keep thinking of the line that Carrie says where she's basically like, you think this is supposed to be bigger than it is, but all it is me telling you that you belong.
Mm.
And so in a way, it's like you never really know if you meet your people, but if, like if people are telling you you belong, then like those are your people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think also there's a there's a certain chemistry that exists that is undeniable that we felt on set, that we felt even in real life. I've certainly felt it before with certain friends where there's a certain opening of the heart that happens that I think people feel when they watch the film, that we felt when we were working together, and that I think is felt when you find your people.
Yeah.
And in light of that, or to follow that up, there's a wonderful scene where sorry, Charlie's character, I
Dylan.
can't think of his yes, Dylan, is chatting with another person, and they're talking about their history of being raised conservative, and then they looked around and they didn't have a family anymore. And the line that I really thought was beautiful was, for a lot of us, that's the price of being ourselves. And I wondered if you would be willing to share a little bit about that. The price of being ourselves. What does that mean to you?
Mm. Well, I think especially in times like this where it's really fraught, politically, and things can feel so divisive. There it's the price is quite high for some people to be themselves. And so, but I'm glad you picked up on that. I mean, we wanted to be a bit subtle about this and not be melodramatic, but um it's true. I mean, every day queer and trans people are threatened and preyed upon and inflicted just brutal, dehumanizing violence. And this film does not take away from that, but we wanted to sort of represent a beacon of hope that, that it's okay to be ourselves, that we all contain multitudes, that it's a normal part of uncovering ourselves and discovering ourselves, to try different things, to try drag, to try getting on a bull. Like, these are these are beautiful and brave things that we can do, and that acceptance and humanity and freedom do still exist.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that like any the trying on new parts of yourself is and seeing what sticks is so fun, and like anybody who gives you any flack for it,
Mm.
it's maybe not your people.
Yeah, and I'm glad you say that too, because like you could sense that in this particular film. There's this genuine sense of trying on new selves and exploration, and that is what the coming of age seems to me. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Mm.
Um, I wanted to ask you both about love in this film, because I think love in this film is beautiful and complicated and challenging. But one of the things, as the film is, without giving away any spoilers, as the film is wrapping up, there's a comment about how no matter how hard you try to make something work, it's just not right, and whether or not that's love. And so I guess I would ask if you think that something can be love when it doesn't work or when it isn't right.
I mean, I think definitely, I think love is maybe more available than we like to think all the time. And, not just because something doesn't always work out doesn't mean that there's not, you know, love there. And not every relationship that ends is like, I don't think of anything as like a failed relationship just because it's over. Um, and I think, yeah, I mean, I choose to believe that love is readily available behind every door, behind every in every nook and cranny.
I believe that too. I mean, I think personally, I believe that love is the only thing that's real, and that everything else is sort of an illusion or fear or the ego. That's getting into some spirituality stuff, but that is what I believe. I think that in that scene that you're referencing is also about queerness. It's about the
Mm.
proximity of queerness to open people's hearts and open people's minds. Just even if they're not queer themselves, the power of queerness, of thinking outside the box, these boxes, these confines that can't contain who any of us really are. Queerness exists outside of that. And so the power of that for even this sort of traditional character of the mother, eventually she warmed up and her heart opened, and her mind opened to other possibilities. I think that these are tough places, and there's a real power in us all to see things in a more tender light, in a more forgiving light. And so that's also kind of what the film is about too, is that oftentimes tough places, tough people aren't allowed to be tender. And so that's also part of it, is like the power of love to allow us to soften.
And that in and of itself too is the rodeo cowboy theme makes it so interesting as well, because that's traditionally, using that term loosely, we associate it with this sort of bravado and as opposed to this intimacy and this brokenness that these characters are bringing, which I think is beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
the cowboy is the probably the most iconic archetype of, masculinity. And we I think that it's also Eve's character, Sky, is such a beautiful example of like how that can be a woman, and for there to be like softness and beauty and tenderness and sensuality in that too. So and for Dylan as well, to kind of be a cowboy who is also, learning the language of the heart.
Absolutely. Honestly, you both, it is such a special film. It's such a wonderful piece. What do you both hope that people take away from National Anthem?
I mean, I hope it encourages people to love a little harder and maybe try on some new versions of themselves and see what sticks.
I hope that people are inspired to deepen their relationships with their chosen family as well as their biological families, to kind of heal those wounds, and to be inspired to, yeah, to go love each other and to have some hope. It's a tough time out there for a lot of us, and I think we all need a little bit of hope and reminders that, you know uh love exists even in the most unexpected places.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your openness. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. The film is beautiful, and I wish you the best. Actually, it's kind of unique in the best of ways, is how I'll describe it. As the, I think that's right. That's right out of the film. No, it's a joy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Have a great day to you as well.